This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both from Besser Museum. I have Chris Witulski and Irv Lewandowski. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning,
Good
and
morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to both of
Happy
you,
New Year to
and
you.
thank you for being here. And Irv, we're going to get right to you right away, but we're going to start with Chris because there's lots of exciting things going on at Besser Museum.
Yep, we are just coming off of a great Season of Light Christmas exhibit season. Had lots of school groups, lots of visitors, lots of private parties, but now it's time for all of that to come down, get put back away, and start getting ready for our new exhibits, which will really focus on art in January, February, and March. We're going to do the Winter Blues. It was successful last year. It's a non-juried, open to all Michigan artists of all ages. We actually had some young participants last year, so that was fun. And this year, instead of it being restricted to a 2x2 dimension, we just said any dimension, even 3D, but it has to be 60% blue hues. And it is a fundraiser for the museum, so it's $20 per entry. And the entries are being accepted January 21st through Monday, January 28th. So if anyone has any questions about that, they can always call the museum at 356-2202. But I hope people are encouraged and participate again this year.
Last year I was amazed at the different mediums, the different artwork, things that were there that I never would have thought of as art, but it definitely was.
Yeah. And it's the only time I really participate in anything that has to do with art. So I'm kind of working on my project. I wasn't sure if I was going to have one this year because, you know, things get busy. But I think I have an idea, so we'll see if I can get something put together. So it has to be made, your art entry has to be within the last 5 years.
Okay.
But mine might be in the last 2 weeks, we'll see. So.
Okay, and you brought Irv with you today.
I did, because our other exhibit that we're doing is with Irv Lewandowski and Mark Bynes, and it's two artists sharing space. And talking to Irv, it's always a pleasure to have him exhibit at the Besser Museum. And we kicked around some ideas, and he invited another local artist, and he's taught some classes over the last couple years at the museum also. And so we're going to open up their exhibit Saturday, January 26th. And he can tell you a little bit more about what people can expect.
And Irv, having known you for many years and knowing you when you were a businessman in the community, and as we talked before we started taping, it's amazing to me where you've gone with your artwork in a very short window of time.
Well, it is, thank you. I think I went from first gear to third, and then I slipped maybe back and then went forward again. But yes, it's come along.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So tell me about your exhibit.
Well, my portion of it will be some of the newer work that I've done that really hasn't been out there and exhibited, and then I'll have some work that predates a few of the years. Most of it's going to be fresh, but I did notice there were a couple of pieces dating back probably about 10 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
Just a couple of them. I hope to have primarily originals, but I will have some giclées. The work will be for sale, which is unusual for the museum, and I'm looking forward to that. And what really is nice is Mark Bynes, who I think will complement my work and I'll complement his, is a very accomplished artist, primarily maybe an educator, but also a very noted artist. And he took a class from me, he's taken several, but when I said, Mark, I'd like to share the wall space. You have bigger pieces, I have smaller pieces. Maybe I'll have a few more than you, but your pieces will dominate, they should dominate, and I'll just fill in the cracks. And that was the way I approached it. And he initially said, oh, I couldn't do that. And then he came back and said, I'm a fool, I want to do it. I really want to exhibit. So.
And you know, Besser Museum is synonymous for, you know, bringing artists forward, so who knows where Mark's career is going to go from here.
He has a phenomenal potential. Of course, he's getting up there in age, as we all are. But he has phenomenal potential, and I can't imagine why he's not out there in the markets pushing his work.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that has been interesting for me as a non-artist, and I would say even though I've been at the museum for almost 10 years now, new to the field, is listening to someone like Irv talk about the career that he's built and the importance of having a good business background. And so that is something that just recently he had mentioned that some other artists are interested in hearing that. And it is hard because people think you just have to be an artist, but being a good businessman or a woman is essential.
Oh, it's absolutely, absolutely important that you have that business background. And yes, right now the planning is that we'll probably have 3 seminars. They'll take
good.
in various aspects of a person's career and their needs, but it will actually take into account the internet and what it takes to get on board with competitions, with a website, and all of that activity. And I'm trying to pull that information together so that sometime this spring and maybe early summer we'll host our first couple of seminars to see what happens. And we're going to invite
interesting.
the entire area communities.
Okay.
You're talking about Gaylord, Taos. Yeah. I've asked this group to stretch out and see what we have. Having that business background is essential. It paved the way again and again. And the other thing that really stands into the picture in a big way is the internet.
Oh, yes.
What that has meant to a career. 15, 20, 30 years ago, I don't think the exposure would have been here. But today, an artist such as myself can operate out of Alpena. And I don't think there's a big difference between Alpena and Los Angeles, to be honest with you, because I can communicate and do everything I need to do.
And your work has been internationally recognized, so.
It's slowly seeping into the groundwater, yes.
Now, will most of your work be pencil drawings, or?
Everything I do is pencil.
Okay.
The exception would be ink.
Okay.
I do use an ink liner on
Okay.
occasion.
Okay.
Several of the organizations that I belong to in the UK and Australia and the United States and Canada do not allow the ink in their competitions. But outside of their competitions, when you get real, by real meaning going into a gallery and trying to sell your work, ink is acceptable. As a matter of fact, it's encouraged probably.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about how successful it's going to be and to see all the newspaper clippings and all the news about it. So once again, when can we come to see this
So the
exhibit?
opening will be January 26th, 2019, of course,
Okay.
at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. It is a free public open reception, and our Founders Society always does a great job of providing refreshments. And Irv actually is donating a limited edition signed print so that people who come, they can register for an opportunity to win one of those, and then of course get to meet the artist and talk about maybe where they're at in their career. Irv does offer classes periodically throughout the years, and so they might be interested in that. And our open receptions are just a great way, if you've never been to the museum, a good time to come and check it out, or if you haven't been there for a while, to come on in. It's a great time. It's one of my favorite times when we have free public open house receptions to honor our artist.
Well, thank you both very much for being here. We're out of time, and Happy New Year to both of you. Thank
Same to you. Thank you.
I'll be right back following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Mike Killeen, director of admissions at ACC.
Absolutely. Good to be here, Don. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. And Mike, spring semester is right around the bend here, and you're the man in terms of admissions and steering people to where they need to go. So what's your take on where we are?
Well, I mean, even though it doesn't look and feel like spring outside, it is our spring semester as we start in January. Classes start the week of January 14th, so it would be next week now. But this upcoming week, we have what we call our central registration. If you're out there thinking about still coming in and wanting to take some classes, plenty of opportunity, plenty of good classes, a full-time, part-time, morning, noon, or night, whenever it is you may be thinking about taking classes, just come on in. We could certainly try and take care of you.
And what would a person, if they said, you know what, I'd like to get a manufacturing degree, or start in welding, or criminal justice, any of our programs. They walk in the front door of Van Laer Hall, and what's the process?
Where they're going to see the admissions office right there on the left-hand side. Just come on in. You know, a lot of times people have a hard time just walking through the door because they don't know.
Right.
But just come on in, and there's lots of people there to help you. Come on in, either Sally in my office, Sally Schubert, my secretary, myself. We're going to do an application for admission. That's your first step, so we know who you are. And then, you know, depending on what program they want to get into, they may have to do some placement testing. We're going to get them over to see an academic advisor. We do have an orientation program that I do that they would have to come to. And that orientation is really beneficial because I go over just a lot of services and policies, timelines, information they need to know to be successful while they're at ACC. And we understand a lot of our students may only be there for one class or a semester to get some employability skills, like in some of these hands-on programs you mentioned, the machine tool, the welding, maybe electrical, you know, some computers-related stuff. Maybe they just need an accounting class because they work at a place. They need to just brush up some skills. Come on in, we'll get you to an advisor, and they'll help you schedule classes based on what your needs are and where your availability is, because we have classes morning, noon, and night, online, anytime.
Very true. That's a very succinct way of describing the process. Is there financial aid available?
Oh, you bet, you bet. You know, and so if you're sitting at home this morning and you're thinking about, oh boy, what about financial aid? It's not too late. It's getting close, but you can do the financial aid application. That's the FAFSA. It's FAFSA.gov. That's the financial aid. A lot of people hear of a Pell Grant. This is the application for a Pell Grant. It's the first step in all federal free financial aid. So do that and make sure you list Alpena Community College as a school. And then still come on in next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to be open for business.
Right.
Just come on in. No appointment necessary, I like to say. Anytime after noon on Tuesday, and then until about 4, and then Wednesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're just open. Just come on in, and we will help you through the process. And even if you don't know what to ask, we know what to ask you. We'll help get you started.
You bet. So FAFSA is something that a person sitting at home in their kitchen on their laptop, they type that in, and that brings up a form that's kind of standardized nationally.
Right. Correct. Yep.
And then that is that's a necessary step to apply and receive Pell money.
Right, exactly. And that's based on household income, number of dependents, number in college. There's some key indicators that the government looks at to determine if you're eligible for that free money. But that's also the first step in a lot of different financial aid programs. Some scholarships, some other types of aid that's out there. That's normally your first step. And if you're at home thinking, oh boy, a form, online, government, all that stuff, come on in. We've got some computers in our financial aid office. You can do them there. We got our staff there. If you have a question, you put your hand up, you look out the door, someone will come in and help you through the process.
That is a really important point, that we're not trying to make it difficult.
Right.
We're trying to make it easier.
Absolutely.
And Pell, not to dwell on this point, but if a person were to obtain a Pell grant, what would that fund and how much?
A full Pell Grant is a little over $6,000 for the academic year. So if you live in Alpena and are going to pay our in-district rates and are eligible for a full Pell Grant, that's pretty much going to take care of all your costs to go to school. Depending on how many classes you take and your book cost, that's going to take up a big chunk. And then if you live in our outlying areas, Hillman, Rogers City, Elkhorn, Atlanta, that's going to really help substantially also. And then there also are other programs like the Federal Student Loan Program. You know, don't be nervous about a student loan. It gives you the opportunity to pay for that education, to get those employability skills, to get that employment you're looking for. Then you pay the loan back, but eventually you're going to be where you want to be. It's a process, but we're certainly going to help you, and those are great, great programs to help you get there.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And a loan at Alpena Community College in district tuition rates at $133 an hour is quite a bit different than taking out a loan to fund an education at MSU or U of M at $500 a contact
Exactly.
hour.
You know, and that's what community colleges do. Smaller class sizes, closer to home, affordable tuition, and then the ability to transfer maybe to those four-year schools if you are one of those students looking to do that. Or, of course, we have all those great, what I call them 1- and 2-year certificate or associate's degree programs that give you those skills to go to work right when you're done at ACC. Tremendous opportunities.
You betcha. You know, it's interesting, we're beginning to see, and I guess it's always kind of happened, but it's now maybe a little bit more, folks that have gotten a 4-year degree or are well on the way to getting one are coming back to enter into these occupational programs that are really lead to very good jobs, like nursing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nursing's a very good one. Our concrete technology program, I know that next semester we have at least 3 or 4 students who were at a 4-year university first semester, and are coming back and getting into our concrete program. They've maybe found out it just wasn't for them, and found out that that's a great avenue, because so many of these technical programs like this, and nursing, computers, medical assistant, welding, automotive, the jobs are out there. Boy, there are tremendous needs out there, not just here locally, but around the state, no matter where you want to go. So if you're looking to want to stay locally or maybe travel, we got some programs that would help you do that.
Absolutely, and you know, you and I follow enrollment around the state, and these are and part of these are challenging times for community colleges to maintain level enrollment. We're about the only community college right now that is. And part of that is a good reason, is that there are jobs out there for people. But some of the jobs that you could get with a credential at ACC would be better jobs, and you could walk in the door and service type jobs.
Absolutely, you know, and that's what I mean. That's where there's this skills gap out there, that people think that, like manufacturing, a machine tool, like you mentioned, some people think that that's a dirty or grimy. I know you had Andrew Pat on a couple of weeks ago who was in talking about it, but those are clean, sort of technical, very smart occupations out there, and there's a tremendous number of employers here in Northern Michigan that are in need.
You betcha.
Real need, and they're well-paying jobs for up here. So certainly keep an open mind and think about these opportunities, because, boy, they're out there and they could really make a difference.
Mike, thank you for what you do. It's very, very important to Alpena Community College and this community and people in it. And folks, thank you for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.